People love to complain about games in this modern age, and to be honest, a lot of them do suck. But you know what don't suck is a lot of the action RPGs or action games or even turn-based RPGs that have been coming out in the last few years. We just had some fantastic turn-based combat systems with Metaphor ReFantagio, Romancing Saga 2, and I haven't played them personally, but my friends absolutely love Trails Through Daybreak. Combat systems in this day and age, though, that I think benefit even more from the increase in technology is action games. The more technology and the crazier graphics and mechanics you get, the cooler these combat systems are going to be if they're designed super well. So I wanted to bring you guys some amazing action combat systems today that you should definitely keep your eye on coming in 2025. The first one that's coming February 28th of 2025 is Monster Hunter Wilds. Now, if you've never played a Monster Hunter game, it could definitely be daunting. There is a lot to do in these games, and personally, when I booted up Monster Hunter World for the very first time, I played for around 10 hours, and I just didn't have the mental energy to learn all this stuff, even though I usually love doing that. But then I streamed it on Twitch, and my chat helped me out, and it was incredible. It was one of the best games I actually ever played, and one of the reasons for it is it has infinite possibilities to just do cool stuff. You can do crazy things with these weapons, and it takes a lot of learning, and it seems like the skill ceiling just goes higher and higher. How cool and fast can you kill all these crazy monsters? And it was super cool to see all these monsters kind of react in their natural habitat and interact with each other. It was super amazing, and Monster Hunter Wilds is going to try to take it to the next level. What's cool though is since it's the newest game in the series, I think they're going to try to help people out to get into it easier. Now, I would normally never say this either, but when this game comes out, if you have trouble getting into it, but you just love giant monsters or dragons or even like Godzilla, and you just want to play a game like this, look up a few guides. I would normally never say do that before trying a game yourself, but with this series, it's okay to get a few tips. But the best thing you could do is find some buddies who also play and just hop on with them and get to learning, and it could be one of your favorite games you've ever experienced. The combat system in Monster Hunter World was just incredible, and Monster Hunter Wilds again is going to take that same combat system and try to take it to the next level. A lot of the zones are also interconnected a bit more, so it's a little bit more open world, and these animals and monsters are all going to be interacting even crazier than we saw in Monster Hunter World. The next game is Tales of Graces F Remastered. Now, I love the Tales series. I think the combat systems in each of these games are very unique. They take a lot of aspects from fighting games and a few others from normal action RPGs. It's a little bit more niche, so I feel not as many people have played these Tales games, especially the ones stuck on the PS3 generation. So the fact that Tales of Graces is coming to PS5 and new consoles is a really good opportunity. This game comes with all the DLC and all the post-game for free since it's a remaster, and there's a lot of stuff here for combat enthusiasts and challenge runners. This combat system is very free-flowing. You're switching through your teammates really fast, you're trying different combat styles, and when you get in the groove of this combat system, it's really fast pace, and it takes a lot of skill, and I think it's just incredibly fun, and you should keep your eyes on it. Tales of Graces F comes out January 17th, 2025, and I'm getting it day one, and so should you. The next game on our list is the first Berserker Kazan, and I can tell you this combat system is insanely good. I played the demo a lot when it was out, and the boss fights, the combat, pretty much all of it was top notch. I even compared it to Lies of P, and not because the games are similar at all, but I compared it in that way where it's kind of a Souls combat system or has a lot of Souls inspiration, and it's not from Software. It's its own studio, and it's really good. Animations just look fluent, everything is really responsive, and there's such an oomph to your attacks, especially these enemies just have blood splattered all over them where you hit them. And one thing that I thought was really cool with this game is when you're refighting a boss over and over, you will keep getting XP. So instead of having to go around and smack smaller enemies and grind, you could kind of just grind by learning the boss, because you're going to be doing that anyways, fighting it over and over again and learning it. So you will keep increasing in strength. It's almost like the game is rewarding you for giving it attempt after attempt. And it was just incredibly fun. It felt very hardcore in the way you're just slicing enemies through. He was a general that met his demise, and he's back to seek vengeance and explain why he met that demise. And it's just an overall really cool game. I really recommend looking into it, especially if you like harder action games or Souls-likes. The next game on the list is Dynasty Warriors Origins, which also comes out January 17th, like Tales of Grace's F Remastered. Rest in peace, my wallet. But this game honestly looks pretty incredible. So I've tried a few Dynasty Warriors games in the past, and they're not exactly for me. I get the genre of these games. You're supposed to be fighting waves of enemies and feel really powerful and send them flying. Now, there is kind of 1v1s. You usually go fight like a general around the area, and it's like a boss fight in the middle. But still, it's a little bit too much just button mashy in the past for me. Dynasty Warriors Origins really seems to change the game up in that way. If you're playing on a harder mode or even normal mode, you're gonna have to make use of the perfect parrying, the perfect dodging, and overall be more aware of what your enemy is doing when you're fighting a boss or general. Now, you could totally button mash your way through this game if you do easy mode, and probably even a little bit on normal mode, and some of the moves here, the scale of them look incredible. Like, you could just send a mountain of enemy soldiers flying across the field, and the fields look bigger and more detailed than ever. But I really want to applaud the way this genre is going and how Dynasty Warriors Origins shows that, where the 1v1s are taken a bit more seriously and have the player have to do a lot more to take them down. And this game honestly just looks like an absolute blast. The demo is out right now, which you could go give a try yourself, and they give you a good amount of content to try out, and I'm actually genuinely excited. Will probably be the first Warriors game I completely complete in the Dynasty Warriors series. The next game you should definitely keep your eyes on is Wu Chang Fallen Feathers, especially if you love Souls-likes or just more challenging action RPGs. We recently got a gameplay trailer, and the boss fights look absolutely spectacular. You could even tell their moves are super telegraphed just by watching the gameplay here, and it just looks great. The feathers is a disease going around, and the plague that's got our main character actually gave her superpowers, and there's a big emphasis on doing crazy spells and things like that, more so than just melee combat. And in general, this is the second AAA game coming from a Chinese company, and we saw what happened with Wukong. Now, while Wukong was really fun, it wasn't one of my personal favorites of all time, but there was definitely quality to the game and it was well made. So I actually have a lot of hope for this one. The aesthetic and the bosses themselves look more interesting to me, and the backstory of this character trying to figure out why the plague didn't completely kill them is actually pretty cool. So this game has been on my radar for a while. You should definitely check it out. It also gives me slight Stellar Blade vibes. You're just playing as a badass female protagonist that just will destroy anything in her path and looks stylish while doing it. Now, those are the 5 most anticipated action RPGs in 2025 for myself. They piqued my interest the most, and I will be getting them all day one. Now, there are a few other ones coming around this time that kind of have my interest, but have a few issues, so I didn't want to directly recommend them, but let me show them off a little bit. One of them is Ballad of Antria. This game is free to play, which is the biggest issue. I love the way the boss fights look. I love the impact on switching characters. You're going to be able to switch to a bow user back to a sword user, and you have this little character on a dog following you around that also helps you out in combat, and the world design looks cool. It's one of these games where you're exploring the world and then something happens and the world changes. You go to the darkened version and everything looks completely different. There's different enemies, so it looks dope, but with a free-to-play model. If you know my tastes, I can't stand live service games. I like a game to have an ending. I want a final boss and a credits, you know what I mean? I want to be able to buy the game physically. So I really don't like that this game is free to play, because there has to be a catch, right? Whether it's making you spend money or making you grind for weapons that are a lot better so you can actually do damage to these enemies, you know, there's got to be a catch in my opinion. So it's not one of my highly anticipated ones, but I'm definitely going to look into it. Another one is the Yakuza pirate game, where Majima loses his memory and decides to become a pirate. Now, this game I'm probably getting day one. The only issue is I heard from some Yakuza fans that there is story relevance that continues after 8. And the problem with that is I'm only on Kiwami 2, so I really don't want to get anything spoiled, but since it looks more like a side game, it might not be too present, and you might be able to play it just off the bat instead of having to go through the entire series. But I love pirates. I love pirate themes, aesthetics, and this just looks incredible to be hopping on different ships, taking them over, and the combat looks incredibly fun. So I would love to play this day one. I'm going to keep an eye on it and really see how much story relevance is in it compared to the rest of the game. So there is a chance I make an updated list with a few different games than the ones I previously have shown, but those top 5 I can guarantee are going to be great times, and I'm super excited to get my hands on them. Let me know down in the comments what action RPGs are you excited for in 2025, and let me know if you've been playing any recently that has completely blown your mind combat system wise. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and the recommendations, and I hope you have a fantastic day. I will see you in the next video very soon. Peace.